together. Only four things would be playing, as I said, I think. And yeah, but obviously it's only picking one variation. So out of the two variations for the timpani hit, it's only picking one. I've only picked one, and that's the same for the bass pizzicato section. So yeah, you can kind of get the idea of what I'm trying to tell you. Here, nothing really. It's just more homophony, really. Because you have your complement with it. You have such as your pedal notes, your drone notes, your sustain notes, and your trill and your drums. But you don't really have any melodies contradicting each other or more than one melody. There's not really a melody in this either. It's more just a bass note, really. So it's not really, the texture of this isn't really polyphonic. I'd go more homophonic in this section. So moving on to the actual big phase 3, where it's the battle. So in here we have a set of drums. It's only a traditional drum kit. It would have been nice if I could have got a live drum kit on this. I think it would have been really sick, and it just would have given that nice feel to it. But yeah, I'd say it's really it's still good enough because it's not the main element of this phase, but it just still would have been nicer having a mic'd up drum kit, and you could have really played around with the drums on this. But still, we've got then a timpani hit, but on this timpani hit, it's not a variation. It's only one timpani hit. So it doesn't. There's no variation of this in this section, but there is a variation on other things. So we also have again a bass pizzicato, but it's not the main thing in this piece. In this phase, it's actually more in the background. It's just there because it needed something in the background of it, and having something nice and bassy and just the strings are really bouncy on here. So I think having this here really just kind of like settled this this phase and kind of just completed it. Here though we have a cello section, and it is it's not all played on the same. It's all played on the same instrument, but it's a variation again. So we have one melody line. We wrote the melody line, and then we went, you know what? We'll make some variations of it. It will boost the grade up. So if we can make some different variations of it, only maybe change the rhythm of the melody, or maybe if we change the pitch of the melody, maybe, or whether we change the length of notes, or whether we change maybe if we just use different parts of the scale that we haven't used, to make the variations just slightly different. We don't want major changes, because otherwise you're completely writing a complete different piece in that phase. So we wanted to keep the same melody but add slight adjustments to each time. This time we've got 4 different variations for the melody, but this is on the melody, where in phase 2 it was on the bass, where and on the timpani and the percussion, where on this one we're changing it and it's going to be the melody that's having a variation. I will show you the different variations now. Here we go. as you can tell in these variations, they do change quite a lot from the original melody, and this is either by adding some dotted notes in, or either completely adding loads of adding some crotchets in it, maybe, just so adding some more notes in, but at different lengths, so maybe a crotchet or a quaver, maybe. We just changed it slightly so I could just hear that slight difference, and then by over the time we've got to the fourth variation, it is still got most of the same elements from variation 1, but it's just changed, and it shows the changes of. It just shows that it's completely took different aspects of a variation 1, and you've changed it up a bit. We also have trills, more staccato notes, and more bass notes, and some accompaniment here. So, in this part, before we get to the variation part, this is just homophonic. You've got your complement and you've got your melody, which is that. But when it gets to the part where the variations come in, the texture changes because you've got two melodies and contradicting each other. So it causes polyphonic texture, and then with all your other when you have your different melodies coming in, it just changes the texture a lot. So you switch from a homophonic texture into a polyphonic texture because you're having contradictions and having more than one melody line playing at the same time. So I'll show you the phases now. And so on. So, as you can tell, those variations, they'll obviously be picked randomly again. So, moving on into to phase 4. You've took damage, and it is. I did have the heartbeat and everything in here, but I changed it and put it into F mod instead. It was just easier for me. But there was a problem with that, which I would like to change, which I'm going to do in this resub. But I'll explain that later. So phase 4, we have some bass pizzicato. We've kept that traditionally throughout the whole of them, except for being in phase 3 and phase 1. But I like the way the bass pizzicato sounds. We've added some reverb over here, so it just sounds a lot nicer, and I can adjust that if I want to. But yeah, I really like the way I like how they sound, that it just adds depth to your piece. We also have a cello here, which comes in halfway through. Which is actually, in fact, the same as here. We have a lot of things that are the same as phase 3, but it's slightly changed. So, for example, we have your trills here. Might not be trills. Yeah, it is. So that's the trills in phase 3, but here They've slightly changed where it's just more short staccato sweet notes. We also again have a higher trill where it's really high. And then we have a drone note. It's exactly the same same note as the trill, but it's just played in a different octave. Then we also have some legato notes, which is our main melody in this. And then we have our other melody from the other piece, which is here, coming in. So here the melody has switched from being on this one here to back up here. So, and now the one here, which is the strings legato, that is now being the accompaniment and the and is being the backing to the so the roles of the melody has switched. So going into phase 5, we have the same phase as we got from here, because when I wanted to change up in phase 5 where we don't have the same key, we change keys, and it's completely different because you died, you want it to be sad. So I've and I kept this phase because I really liked it. So I've just shortened it down and put it in this one. And again, here we have the introduction of our choirs for the first time ever since the beginning, which shows another circular narrative, because you're from the beginning, you bring in elements from the beginning, using instruments from the beginning, back at the end to show your starting point and your end point. So yeah, that is the audios and the actual song, but implementing this into Fmod was really difficult. As I said before, because we've never used it, but I'm going to show you that in the next video because my time is going to go off because I can only use 15 minutes on YouTube. So I'm going to cut you off and I'm going to show you in the next video, the final video, all about Fmod and how Fmod works and how I implemented all my stuff into Fmod. So yeah, but to show you that the technical elements and the musical elements of this of the piece, to show that we've used a lot of technical aspects such as intertwining melodies, the texture, the timbre. So yeah, that is part 3, I think, maybe. But yeah, I'll show you Fmod in part 4, which is the final part.